Okay, so this morning we're going to repeat a flight I did in X-Plane a while back. We're going to fly, if we go and look at a little nav map, we're going to fly from Johan in Tyrol, which is Loij. We're going to fly through a number of waypoints organised in a little nav map down through a valley, and then fly south down to Zelamsi. Okay, so let's see how we do. So this is really just about operating the autopilot. So we're in the Cessna 172. I've deliberately turned the temperature down from the realistic temperature and turned some snow on to see if we get some icing along the way. So the first thing we're going to need to do is, in the aircraft, turn on the Pitot heat. And I think that should be enough. We don't get any... The big problem with the Cessna is you don't get any control over heating of the windows, for example. We are getting a caution coming up. Standby battery. So the generator's on. So we've got... we should be good to go once we get the engine running, because the engine obviously generates electricity. Sitting at standby isn't going to help it. Okay. Just have a quick look out the window while we're rolling. Yep, we have flaps. Rule number 1, don't look out the window when you're skidding down the runway on snow. 50 knots. Snow is slowing us down, which is not helpful. Rotate. That's a bit violent, wasn't it? Okay, so what we can do is go over here and trim the plane out so we're climbing out without having to do anything. So that's now done. Obviously as the plane accelerates I'll have to continue trimming. So we're going to move the altitude knob. So we're looking at our height here. So let's go for 4,000 feet. We want to change our heading bug. So if we click it, it will recenter it. So then we can go for autopilot heading mode. So you can see the change here. It's roll or heading mode. There you go. And we want altitude for 3,000 feet. Actually, that's going to reset itself back down, hasn't it? So we'll go for 4,000. We need to tell it vertical speed to get there. And we can change the vertical speed somewhere around here. Nose up and nose down buttons. Nose up. There you go. 500 feet a minute. So we're on autopilot. We're in heading mode. And vertical speed 500 feet a minute until we get to 4,000 feet. And let's see if we get any icing problems along the way. We may not get icing until we fly through cloud. So should we try that? Let's modify the weather. Lower the cloud base. So we'll go into it. So the bottom of the cloud is now there. Scatter, coverage. So we can also go for nav mode now. If you zoom in, because there's a nav mode button there. So the plane will now follow the track on the flight plan. So it's going to intersect it and then follow it. So what we're most interested in here is if we will start to ice up. I've never really played with how this behaves. Yeah, you can see icing immediately, look. Because I'm getting moisture hitting the windscreen, I'm icing. So let's see if it stays and gets worse, or see if it stays the same, and we'll play around with the weather. I think it's actually starting to dissipate. So we're just following this dog leg through the valley. So let's have a play and say if we lower this cloud, that's obviously AGL, that's why we're not seeing it. Okay, so let's see if we can cause this on purpose. So if we change the heading, sorry, the altitude to, let's go for 6,000 feet, vertical speed, nose up, 500 feet a minute. Just going to try and keep an eye on what's happening to the windscreen while we're doing this. It's coming up to 4,000 feet. Let's lower this down and we can figure out exactly what happens. So if we pull this down to 1,000 feet, so we put ourselves in the cloud, so we're getting moisture hitting the windscreen. You can see it forming. So as soon as we have enough moisture in the air, it's going to form. Let's see if that applies then. So as soon as we... Actually, let's let it fly on for a bit. So it's not completely iced up yet. We can still see where we're going. Sort of. Let's have a look from outside. How do we do outside views in this simulator? So the thing that's happening here we're just dropping our nose to only 100 feet a minute, or just to fly level. It doesn't like it, does it? No, that may be because I don't know if I raised the flaps after takeoff, so we got so much drag it doesn't like it. Or it could be the Pitot tube has frozen up, even though we've got Pitot heat on. Or Pitot, however you want to say it. So let's put the autopilot back on nav mode. And I haven't got the autopilot on, but now I have. The plane is immediately going to stall itself. So let's just go for altitude hold mode. So the flaps are up. There's the pitot tube out there. So let's see if can we change the mixture to do anything about this. That's bizarre, isn't it? So I'm going to take the autopilot off, get the nose down. So I'm using the instruments to fly it because we can't see anything out of the cabin. Get the nose down. Quite surprised that we can't recover from this. So it's saying stall speed's 85 knots in these weather conditions, which is quite scary really. Okay, so we've made the turn. If we go and look on a little nav map, we can see we've flown along the valley and we've now turned towards ZLMC. So yeah, we've still got lots of icing. Let's lift that cloud and see if we can see much outside. So if we press space. So effectively, by removing the cloud from around us, this should start melting because there isn't so much moisture hitting the windscreen, if that makes sense, or hitting the aircraft. Let's dive for the floor. Interestingly, let's see what happens if we get rid of the pitot heat. Let's see if we lose the indicated airspeed. Should we freeze us up again? See what happens. So if we put ourselves back in the cloud. Let's see if we lose indicated airspeed. Yep, it's gone. So the pitot tube has frozen up. So if we go and switch that back on, we should get it back in a few moments. Yep, there it comes. The basic moral of this story is the Cessna 172 is not designed for operating in sub-zero temperatures. So we're going to fly straight in to the airfield. If we go and have a look on the map, we can see we're approaching ZLMC. We're over the water now, or you would know. Right, we're going to have a job seeing the runway because of the snow, but we'll do our best. Yeah, we can see the airstrip over there. That was a bit scarier than it should have been, wasn't it? Okay. And the brakes appear to have stuck, which is fun. So it just shows, yeah, this plane is not designed for it. If I look outside, I can't actually pull away now. The plane is frozen to the ground. So I think this is the point you go and ask somebody for help. But I'm going to leave the flight there. Frozen to the ground. Okay, that'll do, I think.